Simcha, celebration, Simcha, Simcha, celebration of life.
Hi from me, Jared Epstein, and welcome to another episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. Jason Bourne and Rachel Sarabutkov are part of the driving force behind Netzer South Africa. They tell us more about the progressive Jewish Zionist youth movement that means so much to many Jewish community members growing up.
Within Netzer's ideology, we have four main pillars. These are progressive Judaism, reform Zionism, Tikkun Olam, which is about repairing the world, and within that we look at social activism and being, creating a just society around us. And then the last pillar is youth empowerment, and as we're a youth movement, we encourage our members to be active in society and to empower themselves through the programs, projects, and education that we run.
Other great skills is things like public speaking, and just learning to go out of your comfort zone and experience new things, and don't be afraid of questioning things. I think is definitely one of the main things we teach our children.
In Netzer, South Africa, our biggest and best event ever is our 2-week camp in December. We call this Machane, which means camp, and we go away for 2 weeks with kids from first grade all the way to high school and post-matric, and with a bunch of very well-trained leaders, we run a summer camp with creating an environment that is based on our progressive Jewish values and looking at education in a very informal environment. In between all of the education that we give our participants on Machane, on camp, we of course want them to have a ton of fun. And so if you come on Machane, you'll see everyone every day throughout the programs having fun with the creative Netzer games that we have. People go crazy for our Netzer games, and I think for some kids that's the whole reason that they come to camp. And you'll see the leaders, the madrachim and madrachot, dressed up to create plays to really get across the message of our activities, of our pulot. And you'll see people in tutus and playing games with chocolate and icing Mari biscuits when we have our tarbut, our culture sessions. We really, really love to have fun on camp as well.
One of my favorite memories from Netzer is that on our summer camp we have a thing called Color Wars, and just like most Jewish days that start from sunset and end at the next sunset. And basically what it is, it's a fight between the red team and the blue team. So we split the kids up and the leaders up, and one half is the red team and one half is the blue team. And throughout the day we play a whole bunch of games and activities and all those wonderful things. It gets quite intense. As you can imagine, a whole bunch of kids versing a whole other bunch of kids in games and stuff. And we actually won that day. And I think it was the proudest I've ever been of a group of kids and my leaders for really putting their all in it, because it's while there's kids playing sports or soccer on the field, there's also kids on the side doing ruach, which is like cheerleading and spirit, I guess. And I really felt really proud of them. I think that's one of my most favorite memories of camp, just how happy everyone is. And even though one team won, at the end everyone comes together to make a purple stew, because of course red and blue makes purple. And I think that was just added to the whole experience of being really happy and proud of the group that we are and what we stand for. The word family is always used in Netzer, and I think that's so true. We're so close together, and I think even the older kids and the older kids always looking after the younger kids. There's this sort of sibling relationship that happens, and it's amazing.
I think that small space that we have is so beautiful in the sense that in our free time you'll see the younger kids and you'll see the older kids playing together and interacting, and it's so special to see all of that happening and to see kids of all ages learning together.
And being part of a world movement, we're really integrated with that world movement. I think over the past years and all our summer camps, we've always had madrachim or leaders from overseas, from like Germany or Israel or England or Australia or Brazil even. We've had quite a few Brazilians in our camps.
Throughout the year, Netzer is very active within our various regions. We have 2 mini machanot, so weekend camps, and in between the mini machanot, we are running services within our community, and we're very connected to Temple Israel, and we run a lot of the programming and education within Temple Israel, and we have things like movie nights and fun pizza nights and get-togethers and things like that. Often we will celebrate with the Chagim and the progressive Jewish values and festivals that pop up throughout the year. And of course, right in the middle of the year, because we can't wait a whole year to get back to our summer machaneh, we have to have a winter machaneh as well. And so, well, the winter machaneh is only for grade 8s and up, because we focus it on leadership and training our older chanechim and participants to give them skills and create leaders for the coming machaneh and for their future.
So I think for all the kids that are a little bit shy, and it seems like this massive, scary thing to go to a summer camp for the first time or be involved in a youth movement, I think it's okay. You don't have to go to a summer camp for your first experience. There's loads of other smaller activities that we run. Like we're always running small activities at the synagogues and on festivals and the high holy days. And we're always running little sleepovers and things like that. And I think if you're a bit shy, I think those things are perfect to get involved with because it's quite a smaller crowd. And once you're done at those events, you have so many more friends and you know people. And by that time, you want to go to summer camp because you know those people are going to be there. And I think we're really used to having people join and being really friendly towards them and welcoming them with open arms.
Jswipe is a popular Jewish dating app across the world. Founder David Yaris chats to us about the journey they took to get to where they are now and the many facets of dating in this digital age.
I moved to New York City in 2010 for a dream job and to meet a nice Jewish girl. And I was doing all of the things to, possibly meet someone. I was going to all of the Shabbat dinners, and I was going to, there's a whole synagogue scene in the Upper West Side. And it was just so unbelievably, awkward. I don't know, maybe just for me, but just the whole experience was just very weird. And around that time, Tinder came out. And, it just disrupted the entire space of the way that people connect. But if you care about meeting, finding, being with someone Jewish, it wasn't the most efficient, effective, or comfortable to do so. So I started Jswipe, I believe it was in 2014, on Passover 2014, which was, and has since grown to be the largest Jewish dating app. It's like any other sort of modern freemium, dating app experience. You swipe right if you are into the person, you swipe left if you're not interested. And if both people are interested in each other, it pops open a Mazel Tov screen and a match. And then people, from there, you can start messaging. And then since then, we've had thousands of marriages, and we've had, over 1 million users, and a lot of love spread over the past however many years. The specific difference between Jswipe and other dating apps is that, besides the fact that primarily everyone is Jewish, the features and the filters are designed for someone who's looking to, date someone Jewish, and then the specificity around that. So, for example, if you're kosher, which is a specific eating, practice in Judaism, and you want to meet and date someone who's kosher, you can filter to only see people who are kosher. Or if you're observant and you only want to find other people who are Orthodox, you can filter for Orthodox. And that type of specificity within a particular, like Judaism, isn't available elsewhere. When some people will ask, how did you get the idea? Which is, the truth is, I jokingly say that I think any Jewish person on Tinder came up with the idea. It was just action. We just did it. We made it happen. And I think so much in life is about is about taking action and actualizing possibility, potential dreams, rather than, the ideas behind them. But what was the process to actualize that was first, thinking about it, like there's this spark of an idea, like, ooh, okay. And then sort of pressure testing that idea, asking friends, asking people, like massaging it, poking, at it. And then there was connecting with other, my founding team and our developers, finding aligned, like-minded individuals who were excited about this journey. And then building it. There's about a 6-month sort of initial build period, and then launching and just seeing what would come from it. And it ever since then, it's just been a fast, moving train, and it really is a blessing and pretty unexpected. But within the first month, we had 30,000 users. Second month, we had 50,000. Next month, we had 100,000, and we just grew really, really fast, which became a real thing. Once the app was being, downloaded and used around the world, I was just waking up every day sort of blown away that this is what I got to work on. And this is like the stories started coming in. The first engagement was about 3 months in, and someone I think DM'd me on Instagram, and it was from a rabbi, which is really exciting, but we didn't announce it publicly because I didn't want everyone thinking that Jswipe was only for rabbis who were, swiping away. And so, over time, we started putting on events. We started putting on different sort of partnerships with different local community experiences or organizations. But it's been a passion project and a really, beautiful and inspiring thing to work on since day one. I believe that Jswipe's provided a platform, a convenient way to date on your own terms, but also have someone be Jewish, right? So I don't know about you, but oftentimes your grandmother's, neighbors, friends set up dates, even though they think they're the nicest and they are the most wonderful people. It's oftentimes not your person, and it could be a little bit uncomfortable. But you're already there, and it's your grandma's mother's neighbor's friend. And so those experiences are, whereas we empower young Jews around the world to sort of be in the driver's seat of their Jewish dating experience. And so, for those to whom dating someone Jewish is important, it's a real, benefit to be able to use a tool that brings people together in such a way. And for many in our generation who maybe the Jewish, the meeting someone Jewish is kind of like a nice to have, but it's not a requirement. It allows those people to not just have to rely on other dating apps that don't allow you to specifically meet someone Jewish, but it gives the best of modern dating, technology with a specific Jewish lens. And so I think that's really the benefit for Jswipe in our generation. The Jswipe community is a really interesting and diverse spread across Jewish ideology, across Jewish denomination. It grew most quickly in New York, LA, Miami, in the US sort of metropolitan Jewish cities. But we're all over the UK. We're pretty present in Europe, and then we have some Israel, and I believe South Africa, Australia. Wherever there's a Jewish community, there is some presence. I think our strongest markets are London, Paris, New York, Miami, LA, Tel Aviv. The future of Jswipe is interesting. We definitely have some platform innovation that has been on our minds for a good amount of time. I think it's really about bridging the online and offline worlds, right? So much of social media is online, but ultimately, magical moments happen offline and in person. So how do we help our users around the world get offline to really have, find those sparks in those magic moments that they're looking for. So I think there's some of that, maybe some experiences or some events. and ideally some more sort of global, mixing and matching. My favorite stories on Jswipe are the ones that just, never really would have been, likely to have happened if it weren't for technology and some blessing. And so, for example, if you live in New York and, someone lives in the Upper West Side and then you meet on Jswipe someone on the Upper East Side, it's beautiful. And it really is beautiful. But it's feasible that someone had a mutual friend with someone who maybe would have brought you to this party and then maybe you would have met. But the crazy things are the ones where both people are swiping globally. She's in Brazil, he's in South Africa. They were kind of just like joking around, turning their settings on global, but then they matched and then they chatted and then they FaceTimed and now they're married. And like that blows my mind every single time because it's just so wild to think about, like lives, crossing paths that otherwise I feel without technology and some blessing just would never have ever possibly crossed. And that it's a wild thing.
It's time for the final part of the Prayer and Connection series with Sara Evian. She takes us through the concept of breathing and swaying when praying and discusses one of the most well-known Jewish prayers, the Shema.
Part of prayer is not only making the space for what it is that we're longing for and lacking. Part of prayer is also accepting what is. And we move between these two things. In Kabbalistic terms, it's called ratzor v'shuv, which is ratzor is a running towards, and a shuv is about returning to. And we have this in our lives all the time. We get inspired and we aspire to things, and then there's a bit of a lull and we have to actually take that inspiration and let it settle in our beings. And prayer has also this. And even while we pray, we sway. I move towards something and then I move backwards. I want something more, but I also am accepting the way things are. And we have this in our breath, because we breathe in and we breathe out. And so I'm breathing in new life, but I'm also breathing out oldness and the carbon dioxide from within my body. Like a heart pounding, taking the blood of life to itself and then releasing it to feed the body, we also breathe in this truth. In the in-breath, we take life into our lungs, and in the out-breath, we release it into the world. Every moment, we inhale and exhale. We alternate between becoming and releasing ourselves. Spiritually, our out-breath represents the relinquishing of self, which makes space for something greater than ourselves. As such, each out-breath draws us closer to the divine. The in-breath is the taking back of life in all its fullness and infinite possibility. It expresses our aspirations and the free choice through which we ourselves become creators. Breath is an interaction, and it is the passageway to awareness. We can experience this interaction between the drive for personal fulfillment, celebrated in the West, and the loss of self associated with Eastern traditions. These are not two competing paradigms. They are merely the in-breath and out-breath of the human soul. By combining these two movements and oscillating between them, we can create a space for our individual selves, and in this way we touch the deep secret of living in the image of God. So the prayer for this section is really the Shema, which is the most seminal prayer in Jewish tradition. The Shema is a prayer of unity, and it mirrors the neshama level of our soul, the one of our intellect, where we are able to understand a unified world, a unified world of oneness, where everything has its space and everything sings its song, and everyone and everything belongs. And the Shema has 6 words to it. And as we've said previously about the 6, the world is created in 7, but the 6 make up the first 6 days of creation, which is the 6 levels of physicality. The 6 words of the Shema, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, are a meditative ladder on which I can climb to the highest level of God's oneness. Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, explains that the unity of space and time is revealed in the creation of the 6 directions of space and matter: north, south, east, west, above and below. Originally formed during the 6 temporal days of creation, by concentrating deeply on each of the Shema's 6 words, I am able to unite the 6-fold essence of space and time by connecting to the divine. Hashem is beyond all concept of time and space, yet paradoxically manifests within every moment of time and every point in space. In this experience of saying the Shema, I melt into the divine's oneness and lose awareness of myself as a separate entity. At this level, I'm able to know God. And it says that when we say the Shema, we cover our eyes with our right hand. And why do we cover our eyes? We cover our eyes to block out distractions and help me go inward. Arriving at the truth often entails seeing far beyond the superficial veneer of my skin-deep understandings. If I want to see something really clearly, closing my eyes can bring me to a much deeper perception of reality than when I have them open and I'm aware of all the distractions around me. So this Shema prayer is one of unity and oneness, and it brings my whole self together, all my levels and my environment and my being.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Simcha, a celebration of life. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so please send us a Facebook message at Spirit Sister Productions. From me, Jared Epstein, and the Simcha team, remember these words from Walt Disney: "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing."